Hey there, welcome to SharkCast Pod, a podcast dedicated to the greatest sporting club in the history of the world, the mighty Cronulla Sharks. This show is brought to you by Dyson Logistics, the Royal Motor Yacht Club in Port Hacking, and Jason Hawes of Crips and Crips Real Estate. My name is Sam Shinazzi, you know G from 2015, just checking my levels. It is my absolute pleasure to bring you another episode of SharkCast Pod. It's only week 2 of the season, and we've released a bunch of episodes for you all, which I know that you've been listening to and watching and consuming, and we can't thank you enough for that. And tonight, you'll be consuming a good friend of mine, the kid on the block of SharkCast Pod. He's the most social member of the show, lover of rock music and different genres as well. He's a proud uncle. He's my man about town, as I call him, Mr. Joshua Bolling. Welcome to the show, my man.
Thanks, Sam. The intros are getting better and better. I'll take that.
Got to keep you coming back, so... Hey, welcome to the show. You've got a million stories for everyone to hear later on about your Friday night. But before we get to your Friday night, let's talk about what happened for everyone else on Friday night. SharkCast Pod listeners enjoying a very, very amazing win to the Cronulla Sharks. 16-12 in Auckland, trailing 12-0, 16 unanswered points. Josh, we had 14 tackles in the opposition 20. 14! And we got the job done. What were your thoughts?
Oh, crazy game. After the 20 minutes, I thought, oh, here we go again, another 40-6 drubbing. And I think the turning point for me was that Will Kennedy one-on-one tackle on the second row or the centre. And I just thought after that, I thought we were really into it. And I thought that was the kind of thing that we needed. And I don't think we make that kind of play last year. And you could see that the boys got up after that and everyone was really pumped. And you could see the change in mentality. And just super proud of the team. The effort that the boys went to was just, that's what we've wanted from this Craig Fitzgibbon era. And I think that's probably the toughest and grittiest win we've done under him.
Yeah, I mean, people are asking that all over, and there's a few letters about it as well, but it's hard to think of a tougher win. Like, maybe they're out there and we're not remembering them, but recent memory, I mean, just fantastic. It kind of had the Fitzgibbon DNA that we all want. Definitely him as a player. And what we know of him as a coach. And maybe for a while that went missing. Last year went missing on and off. We know we finished the year strong. I know he would have been absolutely thrilled with the way they won, the way they just held on. The other thing I love, Josh, was, aside from the defence, they didn't do anything too crazy in the last 15-20. They were hanging on. It looked like they weren't trying to score points. And I don't really have a problem with that. I think if the opportunity came up, they would have gone for it. But especially in their own yard, they were pretty safe, and I love that.
Yeah, I think there was a difference between, when teams just shut up shop and are just trying to get through the final 10 or 15 minutes. I don't think we were doing that. I think we were still struggling to get out of our end. It's a credit to the team that the Warriors were still playing well. Yeah. Defensively, they kept us down there, and we couldn't really get out of our yardage. But to me, that felt like a semi-final type win. And we've, of course it's fun to go out and smash teams and put 40 points on, but those are the ones that set the standard. And now, the fact that we've set that standard round 1 against a top 4 team, you can build off that. The attack will come. We know we're an attacking side. That doesn't matter. That will come with, weeks of playing. But the defensive attitude and the resilience, that needs to be there from day one. And the fact that it's already there against a really good team, that first 20 minutes from the Warriors was... probably the best 20 minutes of footy we've seen this year so far, I know, in round 1. So it's something to build off, and Fitz is going to be hammering that into them now. That's the standard now. We don't go away from that. So
away from home, overseas, it's never great weather there. Sold out crowd, top 8 team, top 4 team.
They were last year.
Trailing by 12. It ticks all the boxes of the critics. And more importantly for the fans, and the fans are the harshest critics sometimes, but it was just an overall really great performance. I said on one of the shows earlier that if they'd lost in that manner, 12-10 or whatever, you would still take away a lot from it, because you'd be like, well, they came back, they almost did it, it should have been 40-6, it wasn't. But the fact they won was just that icing on the cake. Like, this year we're trying to do something different. And, from the coaching staff to the players to the fans, we all want it. We all want the same thing. And that's how you do it. Because in years gone by, it was like, we almost did it. I'm proud of the effort. We'll learn from it.
That's not enough anymore.
Screw that. Yeah, go win. I love that about it, and it's only round one. I love it. And I think that it just sets you up for a really nice 5 weeks of footy.
Yeah, and I think the best part, I don't want to jump too far ahead, but the challenge this week is to maintain that against the lesser opposition. Can they do that? Can they still have that same commitment and that desire against the team that's not probably going to challenge us as much? So I'm looking forward to that.
Tell me about some of the players. Who'd you like?
Every time I think about this game, my brain immediately goes to Teague Wilton every time.
Really?
I've watched the game a couple of times now and like focused on different players and different periods of the game. I just thought he was fantastic. I thought some
good runs.
Some really good, tough runs. You know, those runs that no one wants to take. We're on our line. You're going to get bashed. And he put his hand up every single time. Him and Siffer, I couldn't tell you how many times they put their hand up running out from our 5 metre line.
It's a great point because we're all going on about Siffer, and rightly so. Teague hasn't got a mention, really. In my opinion, only almost as good. I don't think he was as good, but that doesn't matter because the other guy was man of the match.
Yeah.
You're right. Teague was really critical, and I love the fact he didn't really put a foot wrong.
No,
good return.
I think he might have missed 1 or 2 tackles and made 40 odd. I mean, he was everywhere. Tough runs, nearly broke the line a couple of times too against lesser opposition. He's going to score a lot of tries this year, I think, and he might set up a few too, busting through that line back on the inside to Kennedy. I'm really excited, and I spoke about it in the preseason. I think this is his year that he takes his game to the next level. And 24, 25 years old, is in that 60 to 70 game range now too. I think he's understanding who he is as a player and how we use him better.
And look at who he's surrounded by. Like, even just in the pack, he's got Dale Finucane, Cam McInnes, Britton Nicker are arguably the best second row in the game. Like, he's surrounded by good football role models, and throw in the more flash guys like Nico and whoever. Like, he's around really good players. Like, that will lift him even further. Like, if he was playing for a Bulldogs or a Tigers or whatever, he'd be a superstar.
Yeah.
In our team, at the moment, based on one game and what he'd known from the past, he's just very rock solid, and that's what we need from him. He upped it already in this one game.
Yeah. And, I mean, like you said, with Britton McCora, like our 2 second rowers defensively just put in a massive work. I think between them, it would have been 80 or 90 tackles maybe, potentially. And Britton was not a standout, but again, he just does those little things so well that you don't notice on the first watch. Just his effort plays on kick chase, coming across and helping Nico and Jesse when they needed it. Slid really well too on that edge. Like the second rows for me were massive standouts.
For those people who don't watch the game maybe as intensely as what others do, if you're going to the game on a Friday night, as an example, watch a bit of Britton Nickera off the ball. Watch him when, nothing amazing is happening, when you got time to watch him. And you'll walk away even more impressed than what you probably already are. Like, I think it's scary how good he can become. And I think he's already at a certain level. He's just so consistent, man. I said it on the show already, but I think he's my number one guy this year.
And like you said, he's probably still got another level to go. And I'm prepared to say at the moment, and not based off last year, he's probably the best second rower in the comp, if not the most reliable, consistent. And that was always his problem in his first few years, was his consistency.
Yeah.
He'd have a lights out game and then he'd do nothing. We wouldn't get any meters out of him. He wouldn't do the tough work. He's doing all those things now. And that comes with experience. And that's why I always say to people, you've got to give these guys a chance. They're not in this team for no reason. Fitz wouldn't pick guys that didn't deserve it. You just got to give them a chance.
There was a few meltdowns during the game. We got a few letters, which we'll get to, and the interwebs were heating up a little bit. And I understand why. Like, it was not looking good. I concede that I thought to myself, I don't think we can win from here. It doesn't look very good. But I changed my mind pretty quickly as well, to be fair, and thankfully I hadn't told the whole world about it. If I had, well, life goes on. But yeah, that's a great example to let the players play for 80 minutes and see what happens, because, yeah, they were not looking good. I want to ask you, why were they not looking good? What do you think happened?
We were just saying off air, I think that we were a little, maybe shell shock's not the right word, but the Warriors flew out of the gates, and I think we missed the jump. I think Fitz might have mentioned that in his presser too, that the Warriors came with so much energy, so much leg speed, aggression in defence. I just don't think we were quite ready for it. The boys were definitely up for it, but I just think a few errors early on.
Yeah.
A little panicky, couple of offloads from Royce that went to ground when we needed to hold the ball. And the Warriors are a very good football team. I think we can't forget that.
They are. I think for me it was the errors that made it more glaring, because from the errors bad stuff comes. And that was the issue. Like, I didn't think the opening 20, every second of that 20 minutes was diabolical. There were certain signs where it was like, oh, okay. But those moments turned the game, and then the Warriors do their thing. The Warriors shut up shop. I don't really know what happened from their end, but they just sort of stopped playing. I think our defense was really good as well, to be fair. Just a tremendous victory. Talking about changes in players and attitudes. Will Kennedy.
Wow.
Everyone knows about the one on the line that he stopped in the middle. Was it the first half?
It was going to be 16-0 if that went through just after.
The Fanua Blake almost try, line break, where he bumps off Blake a couple times, and then they also catch up to him. Kennedy's in there, putting his body on the line.
He just threw himself at him. He didn't quite get him, but he just threw every kilogram he had at him.
It's so impressive. Like, from a guy who was noticeably not confident doing that maybe, 2 years ago? He's come so far.
And I think, Sam, what reflects in that is the change in attitude on his kick returns probably a year and a half ago. When he gets the ball now, you just see him line up and just charge into the line. Yeah. And I think there's no coincidence that has impacted his getting his body in front defense, which was always a criticism of him defensively. Like, we all know how good he is in attack, how slick he is.
Was it his first kick return, or was one that was unbelievable?
Yeah, it might have. It was very early, and he did one in the second half. I remember distinctly where he put his head down after he got the ball and just charged like a million miles an hour. He would have been absolutely gassed, but he did it anyway.
There is so much to talk about, and we've got a big show for everyone. We've got a lot of mail to get through, news. We'll do a little preview. What else do you want to hit here, Josh? I mean, let's talk about Sifa Talakai. Do you think he was man of the match?
Yeah, I didn't give him my 3 points, but
who'd you give your 3 points
I gave
to?
them to Teague.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I had 2 for Sifa and 1 for Jack Williams.
Right.
I thought Jack we'll get to him as well. I thought he was outstanding.
Yeah.
But it was hard to give a man of the match, because I thought Ronaldo, and I was very critical on this show.
He was
of Ronaldo. He was.
I think it was almost career best.
Yeah. I was really worried about preseason. I thought he looked a little weak and a little tentative, and then for round 1 he gets back up for it and just proves me wrong.
I think, and it's not like us to single anyone out, and we actually love this guy. He's one of us. Royce had an unhappy game. Everyone knows that. He knows that. It wasn't without some positives, to be fair, but he had an unhappy game. Everyone else was pretty good, in my opinion. Like there's no one else that there's alarm bells. Like, I thought Oregon Kafusi was really serviceable.
He was solid.
Yeah. For me, the big surprise was Toby Rudolph.
Yeah, really.
I thought his attitude was fantastic.
He did what he does normally, which is run around like a madman, tackling and running at everything. But just coming off the bench, there's just such a different dimension to his game, because he can do that against tired forwards.
And he played for less minutes too.
Yeah,
and it worked.
And it was more impactful. He ran for over 100 meters, didn't he?
Yeah.
That very last run in our last set we had, when he got the ball, I think on the 35 or 40 meter line and tackled it at the 52 meter mark, just helping us get that kick further downfield.
It was such a good win. That back line's not changing anytime soon.
Not anymore.
Like 1 to 7, they were all fantastic in their own way. I know Nico got the 6 points at Dally M's. That's kind of controversial. I think it's a bit circumstantial as well. It's 2 guys or 2 people picking. They both happen to pick him as man of the match for the 3 points. Pretty good game. I thought better second half than first. Kicking game was good. Trindle's kicking game. The kicking game kind of got us across the line, I thought.
It got us back into the game as well.
Yeah.
Just kicking along. I like that we didn't go for any silly hero chip and chases or not too many. Like, we still spread it late in the tackle count, but just get it long, get it down there and back your defense.
For some reason, they're still doing that kick
short
on the edge
side,
of the field, but it worked. So until it doesn't,
there's obviously a plan behind it. I'd love to know why.
Has to be. I haven't sat and thought about it, but
do you think maybe it's giving more of that side of the field defensively? We have more cover.
Maybe, and maybe it's like, well, I'm on the edge. I'm kicking it that way. It won't go out in the full. It's going somewhere that way. Yeah, the 12 guys are chasing.
Yeah, it's 12 guys.
Maybe that could be it. We should ask someone in the know if we can get some answers out of them. Jack Williams, awesome in his 100th game. Played 47 minutes, a bit extra than normal, and they were all really good. And I felt for Royce because You could tell with that second offload, he really regretted it. First one, yeah, whatever. The second one, he kind of knew. And it's unconfirmed, but I think he was hooked early on.
Yeah.
He got a second stint. There was a few issues there too. But all this is covered in the letters. So hang around for the letters section, and we're going to get through a whole bunch of stuff. Any other thoughts, Josh, before we have a little break?
Well, just on that quickly with Royce,
Please.
You'd rather have one guy have a poor game with the 16 other guys that can carry him than in previous games we've had last year where we'd have 3 guys that were rocking and rolling and then, 12 guys that were kind of average. You can carry a guy when your team lifts.
And I like the move from the coach where he does take him off because he's not having a good game. And then named today, he's named on the bench. He's not starting. So whether that changed or not, we don't know until game time. But it's a little bit of a, hey, everyone, we know this is what happened. He's got some stuff to sort out. He's in the 17, not dropped.
He'll bounce back.
But it's a change. I like it. Like it's not just rewarding errors.
Yeah.
In the last year or two, they may not have had the luxury to do that. I'm not sure. We love Royce. We're backing him. People make mistakes. It's one of those things.
That's footy.
It's footy. And the thing for me is he knew it. You could see it on his face, which is both a good thing and a bad thing. But he knew it. So
I appreciate that he's trying to get some second phase play. And we said that on the pod that we do need that.
Yeah.
And he's one of the better offloaders.
But maybe just not to start the game.
Yeah, and I think the big thing, and I heard this somewhere else, I think when Royce was running into the line, and he does it quite a bit, he's already thinking offload. Whereas I think he needs to run hard and try and, kill someone. And then if the offload presents itself, get the 2 hands to it. But I think he's going in thinking, I've got to pop this ball.
Yeah. He's such a damaging ball runner. Like when he doesn't pass it or offload it, and I'm not saying he shouldn't because it is a skill he has, but there was a run against the Warriors that was like 15, 16 metres, and it was a really great run. And we saw a lot of it last year. And I can't quite remember, there was a game where either he scored or he set up a try where they couldn't contain him and he got back up again and either he scores or he passes.
I remember that.
That was just from him putting the head down and running. Like, he's a hard guy to stop. And maybe that's all I have to say to him this week is, look, just be really careful when you do it. Like, don't not do it, but you've got to be a bit more careful.
Smart.
Yeah. All right, Josh, let's have a quick break. We'll come back and we'll get into the news, a bit of news flying around. And we implore you to stick around because we've got a lot of good things to get into. This is SharkCast Pod with Joshua Bolling helping us out tonight.
Here it comes. Hydes for the win. Nico Hydes is ice cool. It's Cronulla's night. They've done it again at the death in the Shire.
Dyson Logistics have been on board with SharkCast since day one. And because of that and their excellent service, we are proud to be associated with them. Dyson Logistics provides tailored logistical solutions to meet your individual client needs and is set apart by its personalized service. Dyson is a strong worldwide agent network, enabling highly competitive rates. And I should also point out their head honcho is a lifelong season ticket holder of the mighty Cronulla Sharks. Find them online, www.dysonlogistics.com, or call them on 02 8339 1844. Dyson Logistics, service delivered.
So on the last, it's Hines, and he's going to go to the air again. And oh my goodness! Ronaldo! Mulatalo! High above them!
Welcome back to SharkCast Pod, brought to you by Dyson Logistics, the Royal Media Yacht Club in Port Hacking, and Jason Hawes at Cripps and Cripps Real Estate. This is the news section. Bit of an old school episode tonight, Josh. Very organised, very systematic. We're now in the news section, and there's a bunch of news going around. First of all, the lower grades, the Newtown Shark Jets, not so good. They went down in a close one over in New Zealand. Sam Healy scored 2 tries, which is always exciting to see those young guys coming through. So keep your eye on them, but yeah, not a great start for them. This week, they're actually playing at Shark Park at 3:40 p.m. before the main game. It's kind of what's so annoying about the 6 o'clock kickoff is that, we'll go watch the Jets play. I'll meet you at 3:30. And that's a good time, but sometimes you got to do things at 3:30. But that's what's happening. If you can get down there, that'll be good to watch. Billy Magoulias named at 5'8" as well. Round 6 in Harold Matts and SG Ball. Unfortunately, both teams went down pretty heavily to Canterbury. Harold Matts lost 48-12. SG Ball lost 50-18. So a bit of work there to be done. Round 1, Flegg went to New Zealand and won in New Zealand 36-10. Michael Gabriel with 2 tries. So this kid will be emerging, that's for sure. If he's probably already emerging. What's the definition of emerging? This Saturday they're playing at Chester Hill at 4 o'clock against the Bulldogs. So Flegg in round 2 against the Bulldogs. That's some lower grade stuff for you, Josh. We do have a big event on Friday evening, and that is Dale Finucane playing his 250th game. He's always been very friendly to this podcast over the last couple of years. He's a good lad. He's worked for it. He's played in 6 grand finals. Won 2 of them, I believe. It's the most of any active player. I think it's fair to say that we haven't seen the best of him at the Sharks, but I still think that he has given a lot in the time he's been with us.
Yeah, and he's given a lot to the game generally. So it's a celebration of one of the more successful players we've seen in the NRL. And I still stand by that his first year for us was really good, and he had his moments last year. I only got 19 minutes on the weekend though, so I think maybe just easing him back in. I don't mind that. Had that one silly error in his first touch, but yeah, that happens. So I'd like to see what we can get out of him for the next few weeks and see how he progresses. Okay, so currently named on the bench. He may start, not sure, but named on the bench. And if you can get out there to support him and his rugby league career, I'm sure that he and the club would appreciate it. Now, I'm not sure what stage you'll see this in, but we've been hinting about this for a while. Dave off Twitter sent me a DM saying that the ET Gal painting was coming back to Shark Park on the wall, and then within hours the photos are out. Are we assuming this is ready for Friday night? It has to be, right? You'd think so. That'd be cool to show up at first game of the year. Because if it's not, it's like, what's that blob on the wall? Half a head, yeah. No, I reckon they'll get it done. I hope so. Got a couple of days to sort it out. I'm sure they know what they're doing. Yeah. We do need to thank our colleague Gary Dover for a lot of this. I know that he won't take the glory, but I know for a fact he's been instrumental in this happening. So if you see Gary down at the ground, maybe grab him for a selfie out the front or give him a big hug. Yeah, he likes being hugged. So that's exciting, and we need more of that. We need a Fafita statue and lots of things, because that's what it's about. You go to the game, you want to have a good time. You put the scarf around the statue. The opposition fans can do it. We'll get into fights with them. It'll be great. So get a picture against the mural. Yes, it's going to be. So look out for it. We're assuming it's going to be finished, and that's a great move by the club. Now, Josh, I don't know if you and I have discussed this or not. If we have, we can just go again. That is that an American company, which is Australian Brothers, an Australian company in America, who have a lot of money, and they're Sharks fans, and they're diehard Sharks fans from little kids. And the heads of the table at Cronulla went over to meet them as part of their trip to Vegas. They then went to New York to meet these brothers. And it all went pretty well, and it's been agreed to that they're going to give us $5 million over 5 years. And doing a bit of research, and this is not a negative because we thank them for the $5 million. It could have been $500 million, and they wouldn't have even felt it. It is like they are very rich at the moment, and good luck to them. And at the moment, there's no negatives attached here. What are your thoughts on what's going on? Money's money. Selfishly, as a diehard Sharks fan, I'll take any cent that anyone wants to give us. And apparently, with nothing asked for in return, out of the goodness of their heart. Where's he been hiding? We could have used him a couple of years ago. But there was a quote from the main fellow, I think is Mike Dorrell, and it was something like, we want to be a part of the way the club's going under Fitz and under Dino and under Steve Mace. They've been watching the club as businessmen and as fans, and I think they've seen this uprise and success. So there's Karela, there's the development, there's all this stuff, which, to be fair, we need to acknowledge came from other people before these people. The people now in charge are doing a great job.
It's a history of people building up to this moment. But having said that, the people in charge are doing a terrific job at what they're doing, and that's why they want to be involved. I think that's why there was... I mean, it is an interesting question you'd love to ask them. It's like, we almost folded in 2013.
A couple of mil would have helped then, yeah, but it's fine. We're glad to have them on board, and it's nice for us to once have the billionaire friends of the club. Usually, I never thought we would have had something like that. I guarantee everyone out there, if I ever win the lotto, I'll be putting copious amounts of money into the club.
Yeah, you've already declared this via text. We've got it as written proof that...
You'll all be rich men.
Yes, we'll all be rich. So get friends with Josh. Yeah, it's a great story, and people have been asking me, does that mean it's a better shot to go to Vegas to play? And the sort of short answer is yes, but because these guys actually have a big piece of real estate, so to speak, in Vegas. Like, they could be very helpful to the NRL, to the Sharks.
Is it hotels or is it?
They've got, I think it's the Cosmo.
Okay.
Don't quote me, but they have something monumental. If they don't own the whole thing, they've got a part of it which gives them a lot of money. And they could be useful to the NRL, they could be useful to the Sharks. And I think that is going to help the Sharks when they go, hey, we want to go to America.
Sure.
The one thing that I was a bit concerned about with us going to America to play was that I thought maybe the NRL might think we don't travel. But I think if you look at Magic Round, we've got a good representation up there. Obviously, there's Queenslanders as well up there. But I think the whole thing about us not travelling is like, we love Shark Park. You give us a home game at Cog Row or the SFS. Well, I don't want to go to that.
Yeah.
But Vegas, we'll all go to Vegas.
I think
we'll go to Coffs Harbour. You know,
there's
places we go to as supporters, as fans, as members. So, and then the fact that Manly went. Oh, lost my. That was funny. Lost my headphones.
We're all good.
We're all good, everyone. No video tonight, Josh.
No, thank God.
Manly went there, and I can hear a lot better too. Manly went there, and they apparently had the biggest representation out of everyone.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say anything's possible. I think it'd be a bit weird if like Nick Pilatus got his way. He's a cheeky dude, but he was like, we're winners of the first Vegas game, so we get to go again.
I don't think that's how it works.
It's not a tournament.
No.
Anyway, good news that the guys overseas are supporting us. We might get them on the SharkCast pod as sponsors as well. That could be kind of useful for us as well.
A couple of dollars would be nice.
Dollars, yeah, whatever they want to give us. So, what else have we got, Josh? We've got our good mate Dylan Wright on Australian Idol. He's into the top 6. He just keeps on rising. Now, this week, there was a bit of stress because he was in the bottom 4. But if you think about it, there's 6. Instead of having like a bottom 1 or 2, they had a bottom 4. Right. So he wasn't in the top 2 most popular people this week on the text. He was unbelievable. He sang Boys to Men, End of the Road. So it was like, nice. I think fans could vote on something. And it was a bit out of his wheelhouse, but he was unbelievable. A great song too, by the way. And he's going great. So if you have any inclination in supporting Dylan Wright, he's a massive Sharks fan. Actually, before he went on little promo, before he sang, they were down at Sharks training, and all the boys were giving him messages. The coach gave him a message.
Oh, how good.
All shown on Australian Idol. And then, of course, the King of Carrying Bar, Nico, read out what he was going to sing to him. And so he was watching it on a video.
Oh, that's cool.
So it was really beautiful. I don't know why he couldn't be at Shark Park. He was like in some random oval. I'm going to give you a little spoiler. If you're a fan of Dylan Wright and you're going to the game, keep your eyes peeled.
Okay. Well, it's funny, actually, Sam. I have mingled in circles with Dylan in previous years. When I was a bit younger, I had a couple of friends who lived out here, and he was friends with them. So I used to go to a few parties when I was younger with him. And
got any good stories?
Nothing I can remember. It was probably inappropriate. But
okay.
No, like I used to be around him, and he's always been a lovely fella.
Yes.
So
yes,
good luck to him. I hope he wins it. And
I hope he does too. But I think the thing for him is he's already on his way. He's already kind of achieved what he wanted to, because now he can go to most places around Australia and go, hey, this is me. And people will go, oh, here's some money. I'll come see you play. Like, he's kind of set. It's up to him to kind of keep it going. So the further he goes, the better. But we do wish him all the best. And as I do say a lot when I talk about Dylan Wright on this show, I know Australian Idol isn't for a lot of you, but also I don't really care because it's music and he's one of us, and he's an awesome guy, and he's worked his butt off. So, end of spiel. But yeah, if you go into the game, look out for him. I've got a feeling he's going to be there. I think, Josh, that might be all the news unless you have anything breaking for me.
No, I think we're good.
We're good?
Yep.
All right, we do have a lot of letters to get through, so let's have a little quick break. We'll come back with the mail. It's really good mail. It's going to entertain you, make you laugh, make you possibly cry, and stick around back after this very short break. SharkCast Pod with Josh Bolling.
Morgan's kick on the fly, look out. Running back. Oh, no! Mahomes ran it. First in.
The Royal Motor Yacht Club Port Hacking is a hidden gem of the Shire, situated on the banks of the beautiful Port Hacking. It's a great place to catch up with friends, celebrate your birthday or any special occasion, and they always show the NRL live on the big screens. The RMYC Port Hacking, proud sponsors of this podcast and big supporters of the Cronulla Sharks. Check out their website, rmycph.com.au. They've got a Facebook page, or you could go old school and call them on 02 9523 9300.
I'm just handing over possession to Cronulla in good field position now, right on the halfway line.
Eddinghausen and Green laying it on. Peachy's into the face. They're not going to get in. The young fullback scores for the Sharks.
Well, I'll tell you, it is one of the best scrum moves you've ever seen.
Welcome back to SharkCast Pod, brought to you by Dyson Logistics, the Royal Motor Yacht Club in Port Hacking, and Jason Hawes at Cripps and Cripps Real Estate. We got a lot of mail to get through, and we appreciate everyone who's been in touch. Some of you got in touch just before, and some of you have been in touch during the game and post-game, so it's really cool. Josh, you got any good stories about where you watched the game on Friday night?
I was on my way to a date and completely forgot about the game, didn't even think about it, and spent the last 5 minutes trying to introduce myself and having a mini panic attack watching the Sharks.
When you say you forgot the game, you meant when you made the date?
Yes,
Yep.
correct. But yeah, so I just kind of...
first date?
Yeah, first date.
But it went okay. She was okay for you to watch...
Yeah, she may not have known that I was watching the game while I was trying to get to know her, but all ended well. The Sharks won and
Great.
had a nice day. So
Great. Sorry to put you on the spot.
That's fine.
We get these stories, and sometimes they're too good not to tell. Okay. It's only fitting that the first letter, I guess, of the new season, so to speak, is from RCB in Canberra. Long-time listener. Long-time friend of the show. He says, what a win. Grit. A lot of guts and determination. Strong defence. This week, Royce needs a lift. He was fairly ordinary. Tall Tom and Toby were great off the bench. We should beat the Dogs. Let's be for real. They're not good. But we can't be complacent. That would be extremely frustrating. What are you looking out for out of the boys this week? What are you looking for from the boys this week? Personally, I want better ball control, hold the footy, complete sets, and win. Who are the guys who are going to win us the game? So I think, Josh, I want what RCB wants out of the game. I want us to win. I think that we have the capability to win well. I don't really care at this point how the win comes. If it's a 2-point win or if it's a 2,000-point win, it's all good. But I want them to play well. Yeah, I want them to defend really well, kick well, chase, and the rest will come from it. And I'm not overly concerned about this week. I think that if we turn up and play to even 80% of our capabilities, they have enough talent to get the job done. I kind of want no injuries and just move on. I basically want to move on from this game. It's just every week now is a stepping stone to somewhere else. So I want to move on from this game to the Tigers next week at Leichhardt. So I think the men to get us through this RCB, I think it's our spine. I think the spine need to just control the game. What are your thoughts?
Two things I want from this game. One, which I touched on earlier, was I want the same determination and commitment that we showed last week. I want to see that mentality growth in that we don't really care who we're playing, that the same intensity is there for every week, whether it's Melbourne, the Panthers, or the Bulldogs, or the Titans.
Which was the 2016 thing.
Yeah. So I guess I want to see that again. I want to see last-ditch tackles, diving on loose balls. I want to see that. And I would like to see us get our game on a bit more with ball in hand, because we didn't really get an opportunity against the Warriors. I just want to see us use the ball and actually get our shape on and get our attack going. So I'd like to see that and get some points and have a fun night.
He finishes and says, is it unrealistic to expect to go into the first bye without a loss? And that's New Zealand, Canterbury, Tigers, Raiders, I think Dragons. Is that that's not unrealistic?
It's not. I wouldn't like to get too far ahead of myself, but no, it's not unrealistic.
I mean, St George looked better in their first game. Canberra looked competent. I wasn't blown away by what they did, but they did it well.
They did similar kind of what we did.
They grinded it out,
Yeah.
yeah. So there are some tougher games in there, but no, it's not unrealistic, RCB. Thanks so much for being in touch. Appreciate you. Andrew said, wow, imagine being one of the supporters who gives up on the season after 15 minutes. Positives, Talakai, that second half. Nico's defence in the last 10. Bradley running the ball. Teague was awesome. Cam at 13. How good was AFB? The negatives, first 15 minutes, the big middle forwards as a collective group, none were shockingly bad, but there were some errors and poor decisions between them. So just on AFB, boy, he was everything you wanted him to be, unfortunately, against us, but he was wonderful.
Just an absolute animal.
The motor on him.
Yeah, and he's always had it, but I think he's just refined his game a little bit. And that run he made near the end of the game when he beat off about 15 blokes... And we only had 13 on the field, but I think he beat a couple of blokes twice.
Yeah.
Brushed off Kennedy, who threw everything at him. I mean, in the end, it was a good stop. We had blokes coming from everywhere to pull him down, but...
He's like a more straightforward Fafita in his prime.
More filled out.
Yeah.
But he's still got that speed and that footwork, and he can ball play too. Can't wait to get him here. All right.
Andrew says, okay, controversy time. Dale, I wonder if a team like the Dogs, who need middles, would give up another young gun. He's a waste of a spot in the 17. Who am I to question Sir Fitz? I hope Dale proves me wrong, but I think it's time he concentrated on his guitar skills and moved on. Up Cronulla. That's from Andrew. There are a few negative Dale ones which we'll get to, but yeah, I think people are being a bit harsh too soon. I think that maybe they're focusing on that bad play the ball.
Yeah.
Because the rest of it was totally fine. It wasn't headline grabbing, it wasn't game changing, but it was fine. Like if he's going to be the one off the bench, so we'll have to sort of forgive Royce because Royce had an unhappy game. But out of the 17, if that's the 17 every week, Dale's going to be the one that comes on, does his thing, gets off.
Yeah.
He's the mature one. It's the Wade Graham, the Fafita thing. And I thought he did it fine except for that one error. I didn't see anything else negative, to be honest.
I think he's the kind of guy that we can use in different ways depending on the game. If maybe the boys have lost their head a little bit, or if we're behind by a considerable amount, or if we need someone to come tighten it up at the end of a game that we're winning comfortably, I think he can fill all those different kind of roles. Bit like similar to what you said with Wade Graham, when if things were getting a little loose or out of control, bring a leader on just to settle the heads. So I mean, I'm not going to write him off after one game. It was okay. It was fine. Yeah, the error was a bit annoying, but
Yeah.
also, remember, the guy hasn't probably played a game in, 10 months.
Yeah, I personally don't think there's an excuse for that to happen, but also you move on. Like, what are we going to do?
Like, is he in my best 1 to 17 with everyone fit? Maybe not.
Maybe not.
But how often do you have
Yeah.
20, 30 guys fit?
I'm with you. I think he can still play a role. So Matt has been in touch and said, I hope they keep working on the defence. Our go forward is an issue. Would it be fixed with BHU coming back in the team? This game and quite possibly the next one, we'll see whether or not our forwards have the capacity to go forward. So what do you think, Josh, about Hamlin Welly coming back? It's going to provide a lot, right?
Yeah,
like he's our number one prop.
Of course, yeah. I mean, I guess in so much that he's that aggressive guy in our team in the forward pack. Like Royce is obviously is aggressive and he's big and he's strong, but I think Ueli just has a little more to his game. Of course, like quality players are going to improve your side. Would he have changed it drastically? I mean, for on Friday, for example, I'm not sure. It wasn't that kind of game. I think wouldn't have hurt. Yeah, it wouldn't have hurt, of course. I just think there was the kind of game where we just had to roll our sleeves up and just cop it.
All right. Thanks, Matt. Elo's been in touch, and he wanted to talk about... So this week, Josh, I'm not sure if you're aware of it, the last few days has been essentially when the NFL teams, all the contracts are up, it's trading happens, it's just chaos, absolute chaos. And it's pretty exciting. And so Elo goes to the Atlanta Falcons, and they purchased a quarterback called Kirk Cousins, who has been at my Minnesota Vikings for 6 years. They paid a lot of money for this guy. A 36-year-old coming off I want to say an ACL. It's something significant. He missed half the year. Very good at what he does. Very good at getting his stats. He's never won a title. He's only won 2 playoff games. But he'll get you there. Like, he's competent. So that happened today. And we were chatting a little bit about that. And then he said, keep up the great work. He also said, SharkCast in Vegas, count me in. Well, that's 3 of us now, Josh.
3's a crowd.
Michael, who has been on the show before, a former statistician of the Sharks in the 90s, I want to say. Go back and listen to Michael's episode from a few months ago. He said there's been some mixed thoughts on Kaufusi going around, but I think this year he's lifted. More minutes, a big body, quite mobile and no fuss. I think he plays more than Royce this year. For me, he's in the 17 each week up. It's a good shout out for Oregon Kaufusi. I got to say, I like what I've seen this year. Very quiet in the way he goes about his business. I think as long as he remains physical in what he does, I've got no problem with him.
I see him as more of our defensive middle in terms of like the props. Like if you look at his stats, he definitely tackled a lot more, made a lot more tackles than Royce, for example.
Yeah.
But that's because I think his fitness is better.
Yeah.
And he's a big body that's hard to go over the top of or around. So I was actually pretty happy with him in the end. Like watching the game back a few times, he made some good runs. He was really clean in his defense as well. So it's just something to build on.
Jason has written to us from Geelong. He said, long-time listener, first-time caller. Well, we love those, Jason, so thanks for being in touch. I think Jason sent this to me during the game or after, and I was freaking out at him freaking out. And he said, I think he said, my head is a total catastrophe because my question is this: what happens throughout the season if something happens to our 1, 6, 7, and 9 and they're all unavailable at the same time, either through injury, suspension, or rep footy? Whatever the case, if they're all out at the same time, who steps in? Now, this is who Jason would have. Dykes at 6, Puru at 7. He'd have Hiroti at fullback and Beryl at 9. So his 1 would be Hiroti, 6 Dykes, 7 Puru, 9 Beryl. I'll tell you what, if they're all out at the same time, I'm going to be pretty worried and pretty bummed. Yeah. And probably, I don't know how far we could go if they're all out
Has
for
that
more
ever
than a
happened
game.
to a team before?
To a team?
Yeah.
Probably.
I
But
wouldn't sleep at night.
But I take the point. And when this came in, so for those who don't know and care, I don't know. So I have some things on my phone that notify me when they come in, others I don't. So just as a heads up for everyone who gets in touch in the 30 different ways you can, some of it I see straight away and some I don't. But the way Jason got in touch via the email, I did see it pop up, and I vaguely just read it because I was doing a million things. And I thought it was more like, what happens if the 6 or 7's out? And I was like, yeah, it's a great question. I was thinking about it. It's a great question. Like, don't want those guys to be out. Then I read it today, and I was like, oh, my God, whole spine's out. So I don't know where else you'd really go with this, Jason. I don't mind what you've done. I think out of those 4, I'd be more confident in Dykes at 6 and Beryl at 9. But fullback, I'd probably try Cale Iro there maybe because he's played a bit of footy there before. I think Beryl would get the 9 until Healy's ready. I keep Dykes at 6 and 7. There's not many choices for guys at that age ready to physically come in. So I think it kind of writes itself. Let's hope to God it doesn't happen. Now, he also wrote a few other things, and he sort of said, oh, you don't have to say it, but I really want to just tell this story, so hopefully Jason doesn't mind. He said, I grew up in the Hunter Valley. There were no Newcastle Knights until 1988, so I followed the Sharks along with my dad. I fell in love with the team in the middle 1980s. They used to play a trial match against Parramatta in Cessnock for a few years. Dad used to sneak me behind the grandstand before the game, and E.T. himself came up and grabbed me and let me run some warm-up drills, doing catch and pass along the line with the other players. That's when I knew when even the Knights came along, I couldn't change teams. I mean, we talk about it all the time, Josh, the influence on when you're a young kid, and something happens, and that's your team for life. So we know that a bunch of our colleagues, I think Clinton and Jardine, had the same pen or whatever, and they were like, this is my team. And everyone has their own story, but for Jason to be warming up with the team, I think that's when you declare, yeah, you're my guys.
That's dream stuff.
ET.
That's awesome.
ET mid-80s. Thanks for being in touch. Don't be a stranger. John says, great win. Several strong efforts in the forwards. Nico was clutch in defence at the end. Kennedy outstanding. Wingers and centres were strong. Trindle solid. Some handling issues, but a win under duress. Up. Yep, we agree with all that, John. Thank you for being in touch. Trindle was very solid. We have another really beautiful bit of mail here. And again, I'm not sure how much of this I'm supposed to read out, but this person didn't actually say don't. So I guess if this person hears this and really doesn't want it to be read out, I can try and do something in post, but that would also be a pain in the butt, to be honest. So I'm just going to read it because it's so beautiful and it stopped me in my tracks. This is from Sladden. He says, been listening and watching since 2016. Since those heady times, I've had some health issues, moved states, sold a house, end of relationship, etc. Your podcast has been a shining light, so thank you. And many talks about a bit of Taylor Swift. Glad to see you see the greatness of Taylor. I saw the 1989 tour and it blew my mind. If Taylor was a halfback, we could not be beat. And then he tells us to keep doing what we're doing. Our voice is reassuring in this world. It means more than just footy. So that's just beautiful. That's from Sladden. Anyway, Sladden, we say thank you so much. Isn't that beautiful?
That's so good. I love that what sport can do for people.
Yeah.
And maybe even just like a podcast that we just sit around and talk footy and the team we love.
Yeah.
They can brighten someone's day.
Absolutely. Alf says, love the pod, lifelong Sharks fan and SharkCast pod listener. Boy, they're all writing in. That's so good. Quick query about our jersey at Friday night's game. I noticed we had covered up the PointsBet logo, replaced it with a Sharks promotional logo. Any reason for this? Being sponsors of our ground, yada, yada, yada. Best wishes of Cronulla. So, Alf, I believe, and I'm sure that Josh will confirm this, there is an issue with gambling sponsorship in New Zealand.
Correct.
Although, ironically, because the government owns the TAB, or one of those companies, you can advertise that.
Right.
But yes, they kind of not fans of the gambling. And so I noticed it. I was like, that looks horrendous. There's a blue sticker over that. And I think it's Sharks at Cronulla or something, which is beautiful. But anyway, it's something to do with that. I kind of feel like someone should have announced that. Not the club necessarily, but just someone needs to kind of address that because it's not the greatest of looks. But anyway, we move on. And thank you, Alf, for being in touch. Adam says, great win against the Warriors. Didn't see it coming. Thought we were toast after 20. Trindle's long kicking game was outstanding. This is one for you, Josh. Have the rules changed so you can't tap a bomb back?
Now,
the Will Kennedy penalty.
I had no idea about this rule, but apparently it is. I think it's more, so. From what I understand, it's to do with guys just kind of balking at jumping up and not actually making an attempt at catching the ball to put off the fullback. Yeah, which for me is ridiculous because you should be able to do whatever you want to try and make a guy drop the ball.
But surely Will Kennedy was going for the ball to bat it back.
Well, that's my second point, is that it's not like he was going in just to balk. He was going.
He got up there, turned, and went boink.
I think he misjudged his jump, and then so he's gone, oh no, I'm coming down when the ball's still there. So he's just gone, I'll just flick my hand back.
Right.
And he had his eyes if you watch the replay, the front on, he has his eyes on the ball the entire time, and then they dropped the ball, and then lucky we weren't.
So is the only way you can kind of get it now is if you're running towards the fullback and you just genuinely jump up and kind of one-on-one get it?
Well, I guess so, but I'm sure we'll see this weekend someone does it and they don't get penalised. So
yeah, I thought it was pretty odd. It is a rule they brought in, and there's a few weird rules they brought in.
You saw even Nico when the referee was explaining it, and Nico goes, "Since when?"
Nico's got a lot on his plate, man.
Yeah,
He's a busy dude. He probably doesn't get the notifications. Okay. Adam says, crazy idea. If all forwards on the bench and a centre goes down, like Sifa almost did on Friday, could Britain Nickera play centre? Do they train for something like this? My answer is he could, And my answer is I think they do some training on it. I don't think it's like a thing every week where they all try different positions, but I would say that Britain has trained at centre from time to time, even just for fun at the captain's run or whatever.
Oh, I'd have no doubt that at some point in the preseason they've just gone, okay, if this is our lineup and this guy goes down, who plays here?
Yeah.
They would have had all those matchups already sorted. And I mean, Teague and Britain both at a pinch could fill in for half a game or 20 minutes.
Okay, Adam also says, I listened to the game preview pod after the game. Quite spooky, some of the predictions. Keep up the great work. Podcasts are the highlight of my weekly commute. Well, that's beautiful, my man. Thank you very much. So, Josh, we have to toot our own horns here because it was our preview. You and I, we did a preview, and we both kind of nailed it. So,
did you get the score prediction right?
I didn't. I got the margin right.
Okay.
I said 1-4.
I think I went 20-12, so I wasn't far off.
What was the score?
16-12.
No, I think we were a bit off that.
16-12, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I think we both sort of were hinting.
Well, yeah, close.
Yeah, so
We'll take it.
Absolutely. Thanks, Adam, for listening and being in touch and being a loyal person. Chad says, thanks for keeping the podcast going. Love all the content and the guests you have on. Well, thanks for listening, Chad. Appreciate it. What a win on Friday night. I'm a true diehard supporter. I didn't give us any chance of winning, especially down 12-0 after 13 minutes. If this is what we're going to see from a Craig Fitzgibbon-led unit in 2024, then I can't wait to see how we go. Want to get your thoughts on a couple of things. With that effort on Friday night, energy used, and the flights back, do you think this will impact our performance against the Dogs? Great question, Chad. I don't think it will at all. We have people employed to work out all this stuff, the logistics and the health and the heartbeats and the blood pressures and the whole thing, and people far more eloquently than what I can say, and I think that everything will be fine. Agreed, Josh?
Yeah, I mean,
you're the athlete out of the two of us.
I mean, it's only a couple of hours. It's 3 hours flight. I mean, it's not it's not too bad, but we also got a 7-day turnaround, which I think helps with that as well.
Yes. Good question, though. Also, what are your thoughts on Braden Trindle's efforts? I know he made some errors, but I thought he was tough and solid and will be better for the run. I don't remember any errors. I thought he was fantastic, and I think that he was a large part in why we won.
I think my favourite thing about Trindle, and it was proven again on the weekend, was his effort and commitment and desire is always there, even when he's not playing well. Like 2 times, he was the one that came back and saved certain Warriors tries.
Yeah, jumps on the ball.
Yeah. Loved it.
I heard about the Aussie New York businessman giving us a gift of $5 million. What do you think it will be used for? A leagues club roof, more player or fan facilities, or would they invest it as an annual revenue stream? All the best. And if I see you in the crowd, I'll make sure I say hello. Yes, please do. If you see any of us, please come and say hello and tell us what you think about the show. Yes, I'm not sure, Chad, how it's going to be used. Any of those things would be handy. I think the Leagues Club roof probably is a bit more expensive than that, right, Josh?
Yeah, wasn't there something about $15 million that the club needed?
Okay. I'm sure if they want that disclosed, Chad, they will announce what that's going to be used for. So wait and see on that one. Thanks very much for being in touch, though. Really appreciate it. Alex says, what a tremendous win. Fitzy said it was one of their best, which validated how I felt. Courageous, gutsy, heroic. We must use that defensive effort as a template. It's very nice to start the season with 2 points. I wanted to say how amazing Sifa was. Now listen to this, Josh. This is really well written. We have one of the best and most unique centres in the world. We need our fans to get behind him. I love Iro. I don't want him to leave, but let's stop pretending Sifa isn't world class. Love him. That's exactly how I feel.
Yeah. Sifa's got the runs on the board. He's proven again his versatility and his soft hands, his talent. I would dare say that we go nowhere near to winning that game if Iro plays, with all due respect.
Well, it's more we don't win the game if Talakai is in that spot where he is. Like, if he's not able to do those things, we don't win. It's not about who's better or whatever. It's just like they're different players.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's episodes, if you go back and listen, and you can find them, where me and a whole bunch of people are saying like, oh, maybe it's time for Iro, Sifa's defense was a bit whatever. On his best day, and that was probably close to his best, We've seen him play better, but that was close to his best. He's game-changing, and you don't mess with that. So I really like what Alex said here. So well done, Alex, for writing that to us. And he also says, thanks for the amazing content. I need to buy you beer one day. Well, look, that's not necessary.
But
Look, you and I and a few of the other people on board, we're partial to a little something, but we could buy the second round, maybe.
just have a chat about the Sharks or about anything.
And Alex finishes with, yes, I'm the Vikings tragic. And I promised him I would start with that, but I didn't want to embarrass him. Alex is, we're very similar, Alex and I. We have the same issues in life, and they revolve around a Viking and a Shark. David says, shout out for the Fitz pod a few weeks back. That was unreal. I should point out, Josh, I'm just reading all these out, and they're in no particular order. And it sounds like we're just blowing our own trumpet. We're amazing. La-da-da-da-da. These are all genuine bits of mail from real people, and we love them. I'm reading out, albeit slightly edited versions, but just in case anyone's sitting back going, boy, they love themselves this week. It's like, no, we still hate ourselves, but these people love us for some reason. So David says the Fitzpod was unreal. He said, where would you rate that win in terms of performance in recent history? I can't think of a game that made me more proud since 2016. So, I mean, that was being asked quite early in the piece, and it's a hard one to answer for. I haven't really gone back and looked at even games in the Fitz era. But it has to be, I think it's top 10 since the Premiership. Like, easily. And I think it's just the timing of when we did it. So first game of the year, it could be super significant, or it could just kind of be another win. You know what I mean? So if we win the majority of games and we breeze into the finals, it'd be like, oh, that was great that we won that game. But if we sort of scrape in by 2, or if we get the minor premiership by 2 or whatever, it'll be huge in that context. But I think overall, just as someone said before, a great template to work on, and it's a significant one. There's no doubting that. Like, anyone who talks it down is a fool, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And the second question we had from David was, is this the best position the club has ever been in on and off the field? We're not bleeding money. In fact, we're earning money, and the playing group is really building to something. Exciting times ahead. What are your thoughts on that, Josh?
It'd have to be close. I mean, I can only speak on my time supporting the club, but we've had good times on the field and bad times, and we've nearly shut down 3 or 4 times. But to have everything kind of just going smooth sailing, you know, we're playing well for the majority of the part. We're winning more than we're losing. Yeah, things sound good off the field. We're getting $1 million donations. The Lease Club is slowly getting there. Yeah, it's just a fun time to be a Sharks fan.
When the club is built and rocking, it'll be like the end piece of this long journey. Yes. And I'm not putting too much importance on that. I'm just saying that once that club is up and it's fully functioning, and everything around it's kind of getting there, to be honest. But once that's happening, we can all kind of just sit back and go, well, this is how far we've come.
Yeah.
But to answer David's question, I mean, they're just our opinions on what you've asked. But in our time, we would have to say, I mean, I've got a few years on Josh, but we'd have to say yes, because on the field, super competitive. Literally the face of the game is our halfback for the next 10 years. Off the field, we're doing pretty good. I don't know. Sometimes I wonder if we're doing as good as what we say we are. And that's not a negative. I just think sometimes we only hear the good stuff.
Yeah.
But there is good stuff. So it's good that is there for us to hear. And, I mean, if you look at maybe the 90s when we had a very competitive team, the Leagues Club was really bringing in money. But again, we never got elevated to some sort of like superstar club. Now it seems like the money's kind of real. So we're going to say yes, but maybe there are people out there with more, I guess, more history behind what they're saying, both from experience and research, that can answer that differently, David. But hope that's good for you. He said, great to see you building on other social platforms. He might be talking about the TikTok there, Josh. I know you follow us on TikTok.
I sure do.
He's also said you should consider a Patreon to build a community that can give back for all your hard work over the last 10 years. Cheers for all the hard work. From David. Thanks so much, David. Appreciate your support on the Patreon. You've been really cool because I replied to you, and you gave me some great feedback on that. So Patreon is something that we're looking at all the time. It's not going to happen tomorrow. When it does happen, no one's going to be left out. It's just another thing. Don't worry about it. Might not even be called Patreon, be called something else. But there's always a path that we want to go down at some point. Aaron, thank you so much for the ongoing content. It helps the trips to work. I miss the days when people used to write abuse to us. But anyway, I don't really miss it. Aaron, we're just mucking around. Thank you for being in touch. He says, thanks for the ongoing content. It helps the trips to work, so that's awesome. Regarding the Warriors game, I think the defense that was on show was enormous. When you look at the defensive line and the inside man is working tirelessly to support his partner, it's a good sign and something we've lacked in the past couple of years. I think your assessment... Oh, here we go. Here's a negative. I think your assessment on Tall Tommy being able to do a job is harsh. Oh, Aaron thinks we're harsh. The bloke was our leading meter eater on the weekend and regularly comes on and averages 10 meters a hit up. You're 100% right. If I said that, I apologize.
He was great.
I think I was saying that I could see him falling into occasionally, if he's got too much time on the field, it's a horrible word, I don't really mean this, but I can't think of another right now, but a plodding style of running, because he's so big.
I know what you mean.
He sort of ambles, but even a guy when you're 7 foot tall, if you amble, you're going to make 3 or 4 meters. I just think that from time to time, maybe he could be more workmanlike, like a Luke Douglas used to be, but Luke Douglas was one of my favourite players. So anyway, I'm not backtracking. You're right. You're right on that, Aaron. Siffer was huge on Friday, easily our best, followed by Kennedy. Siffer rolled his sleeves up and took all the dirty hit-ups coming out of our own end. I understand people's desire for Iro, but no one can argue how effective he is and how important he is to both the start and ending of our sets. It's becoming obvious from that game, and obviously Siffer still needs to back it up week in, week out, but it's coming obvious that he's our centre for now. And I think Cam Webb might have pointed out, it's not like Talakai is a young man. So there'll come a time where it will be like, you've been an amazing centre for us. Now you got to go to the pack.
Yeah.
Now you go to the bench. Don't leave the club. We love you. I think that time will come down the track. But for now, I think anyone who wants to take that, either of the centre positions, because we haven't even really mentioned Jesse Ramey, and he was clutch on RTS.
Locked him down.
Holy smokes. Aaron says, how good's a $5 million donation? I wish we could be bought out by a rich billionaire and become the Man City of the NRL. Thanks for your content and positivity. Have a great night. I'm going to get to the Man City thing in a second. But the positivity, Josh, now you're a good mate of mine. We're getting a rep for being a positive podcast. Do you think we're because if I'm positive, it's the only time in my life is when I hit record and talk about Sharks. Everything else is not positive. You know what I mean? So take the compliment, and obviously I want to put out something that, people of all ages can listen to and all that sort of stuff. But we're critical, right?
I think we have been today. I thought we were fair on Royce, that he didn't have a good game.
Yeah.
But he'd be the first to admit that as well. We're not saying anything that's not true.
I like being called positive. It's just that when a bunch of people start calling you the same thing, you go, what?
I think it's nice that we try and find a positive light without
It is nice.
shirking away from the truth as well.
It is nice. I'm just being dramatic.
It's not like you.
Not like me. And we also found out, so on Monday, Kieran Fraser and I did an episode, and I mentioned a song, and the song's from the movie Barbie. I didn't know what it was from, but it's from Barbie.
That was the Billie Eilish one?
Yeah.
I think she won the Oscar
She won.
for it.
She better have.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. But I didn't know. I was like, I think it's from a movie. And I sounded like an idiot. Aaron wants us to be the Man City of the NRL. Look, there's positives there and there's negatives. But at the moment, yeah, I'll take that.
I'd take coming first every year, sure. Yeah, and be billionaires.
Alan has written to us and said, good to see the same side, except for Finucane. He only played for 90 minutes last week and didn't impress. There are other players who would do a better job. Maybe Fitzy's just naming him so he could play his 250th game before sending him to the Jets.
Wow.
Don't know your feelings on this, but wouldn't Kennedy be a better option as a co-captain? Well, let me tell you my feelings, Alan. First of all, thanks for being in touch. Appreciate it. Thanks for listening. Appreciate it. I do like that you always have something to say that we kind of go, wow, okay. Starting with the last bit, Will Kennedy as co-captain. The only reason I'm saying no is because as a communicator, his job at fullback has been a work in progress. And he's finally kind of where he needs to be. But for a while, it was a bit of a struggle. Will, talk more. Will, guide them around. Will, where are we going? But now he's awesome. He talks. He's got his own place in the team. Yeah, he's awesome. Will Kennedy is a captain. I would never say never. I just don't think it's a now thing. So that's why I say not now, Alan. And as for Dale Finucane playing for the Jets, I personally don't think you'll see it. I don't think you need to see it. I think that, as Josh said before, there's always going to be injuries and suspensions and rep footy, and he's going to be needed. We both thought he did a competent job on the weekend. There is some negativity out there around his performance from other people, including yourself. I respect that, but it's a no for me for the Jets, for Dale Finucane. And I also can confirm, whilst I have a a new relationship with the coach, we're not best friends. I'm telling you now, I'm going to speak for him. He's not allowing him to play this week just to get his 250th. That's not a thing, Alan. So just want to confirm that. But appreciate you being in touch. Hope you're well. Troy says, I wanted to throw some love to Jack Williams. Thought he was amazing from the minute he went on to the winning tackle. If you watch him again, almost every tackle he was involved with, the runner ended up on their back. Did you notice that, Josh?
Yeah. He's good at the wrestle.
Think he played a major role in swinging momentum back towards the Sharks. I completely agree with that, Troy. The timing of it. Love the attack in the last couple of years, but there's a pride you get watching them bust their asses defensively. Best win in the Fitzy era for me. Thanks, Troy. Awesome to hear from you. And we love Jack Williams. We pray every night now that he gets signed.
We're probably two of his biggest fans, I'd say.
Yeah, big on the Jack. 100th game too. His family was over there. Beautiful stuff. BHU was wearing the Jack Williams T-shirt.
Yeah, that was
like
great.
A sweater, actually.
I want to get one.
T-shirt. Yeah. Barnesy, who's in charge of merch, he listens to the show. So if you want to mock up some of that stuff for the fans, you might sell some, Barnesy. Don't want to say head to your job. Actually, I do. But okay. So this is from another jersey on Insta. That's the name. I know a 4-point victory against the Warriors in round 1 doesn't sound like much on paper, but I'll remember this win for a long time. It was gritty and hard-earned. Something we haven't seen in a while. It squashed my lack of confidence the season ahead. Up. Yeah. I think that's what it did. I think it was like, we're legit.
I think it's excited a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's excited me. Just to have the footy back in general. I was just happy.
But if you lose that, there's a flatness involved.
Sure.
It doesn't mean we're not amped going to week 2, but yeah, we've won one game in round 1 in 10 years. We're not used to it.
No, we're all...
It's almost like a thing where you go, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't count.
I feel like we've won the comp.
Just sets you up, and as RCB said, it's like, well, could we go to the bye undefeated? Like, imagine that, 5 from 5.
You shouldn't be...
You're not missing from there.
Yeah.
Only a few teams have. Okay, Chad said the boys showed great resolve and grit the other night. Looking good. The negatives were Big Royce's errors, but that can be sorted out. Just silly offloads. Dale, though, looked tired at the end of last year and looks tired already this year. He appears to be on struggle street. Up. Oh, Chad. I think that's a bit harsh. Look, I wasn't watching him the whole time of the coverage at the end of the game or whatever, but I think that's just how he looks. He runs out and he's just a guy who puts it on the line, and when you do that, you're not going to look fresh and young. I think it's too early.
I don't think he played long enough really to have that he was really good or really bad either way.
I swear we take that play the ball away.
It's fine.
I don't think people are really talking about it.
It could also be like, if you didn't notice him, he did his job sort of thing. Like, besides the error.
Yeah. Appreciate what you're saying, though. And, yeah, I want to wait and see on that one, Chad, because
Let's give it a month.
Let's not forget that Wade Graham was not looking too good, and a lot of people were like, get out of here. And he came good. He was fine to finish the year. Same with thing with Andrew Fafita. Like, he had a good finish to his career. So you're talking about a guy who's played 6 grand finals, Dale Finucane.
He's a winner.
That's not a thing. Like, you don't do that, but he's done it. 6 grand finals. You don't say to him, go play for Newtown. And we love Newtown, but you don't say that. But, Chad, we appreciate your opinion. That's why it's been said on the show. This one's from, I think it's pronounced Tighty, and he's on Insta. And this is from last week. I made a bit of a boo-boo. He said, stoked to see Cam start with available players. I think it's our strongest side. It's a shame some of our fans can't get past the Sifa Iro thing. The coach knows what he's doing. Time for all of our fans to get behind the team. So some strong words there from Tidy. And we appreciate you being in touch. Sorry that we dodged you for a week.
And proven right.
Proven right. And the Sifa Iro thing, I don't want it to be a thing. I just want it to be when it's his time, he comes on and we all cheer him on and he has a great game and he works for it. Like, at this point, it's going to be through injury. No one wants to see injury. So it's like, it's a tough spot.
It's a good spot as a fan. Maybe not Iro personally, but
yeah, I don't know how long he sticks around for. Like, maybe he'll get antsy and move. There's been plenty before him who did that and it's worked out well. Plenty who did that and it hasn't worked out. If you want to risk it, go to a new system. I mean, I know that he's liked. It's not like he's like, I think there's an image that he's being treated poorly, or that's not even close to true. Like,
it was 18th man 2 weeks in a row.
He wouldn't
now.
be on the books if they didn't like him.
No, he's the next man up.
He is. He's close. Sean said, "What's the latest on Dykes?" I noticed Billy Magoulias playing number 6 for Newtown. I think it's still what it was, Sean, and that's maybe rounds 3 to 4. Wait and see on that. There was a sneaky rumor today going around that BHU will be ready for this week, which I thought was a bit premature, but it was a genuine thing going around, but that's not happening. And we did have one bit of correspondence as well. Someone who should know better. So whenever I sort of say, hey, get in touch with us, I tell them, sharkcastpod@gmail.com. I tell them to DM us if possible. You know, I mean, things happen. But out of all the people in the world who didn't do it and just put a message on a thing that I'd never see, and I just happened to see it, was Dr. Cameron Webb. Out of all the people.
Oh, come on, Cam.
And he said, what are your top 3 food options at Shark Park, real or fantasy? To which Michael Gillard, who's the former statistician, he wrote, I'm going to Bay Central beforehand, the place.
Oh, yeah.
But Cam said, what are your top 3 food options at Shark Park, real or fantasy? What are your thoughts there?
Football's always hot dog. Mm-hmm. Always a hot dog with a can of Coke or something like that, or a beer, depending on what night I'm having. Or a meat pie. I think.
You need one more. What's your next option?
What's another one? Maybe.
What would you like to see?
Oh, what would I like to see? I would love. I'm going to go wild here. Why not a pasta? Why not?
I didn't see you going there. We're talking short pasta.
Like a bosciola or something. Let's just get wild.
We're standing up.
Yeah.
Or sitting down where you are.
With a little tray and
short
fork
pasta. But I can do bosciola. I was going to suggest something else for you that I know that you're partial to, more for the later evenings. What about a kebab?
Oh, yeah. We get around a kebab.
Yeah.
Well, what about a cocktail? Can we count that? A cocktail
It's funny,
bar.
actually, Kieran Fraser, second shout out for the show. We're thinking about getting margaritas before the game.
Hello. I'll be there.
Don't know where, but we thought, wouldn't that be good? Or maybe I said it, and he was like, yeah, I'm in. Margaritas.
If I could have a pina colada on a Sunday afternoon at Shark Park, I don't think it gets better.
Why can't you? Let's try and do that. I would say, Cam, that my favourite food is pizza, and I think sometimes you can still get pizza from there.
You can?
You can, yeah. So I get pizza. That's great. I like all the things you mentioned. You know, I'm partial to the things you mentioned. What do I like at the footy? Food.
You had the hot chips last time I sat with you in the ET stands, and
that was because of Mrs. Garrett.
That was true. Yep. Shout out.
Beck Dover gave us some chips. If she's listening, another year coming up. No. I like pizza. I like what do I like at the footy? I don't know. Whatever it is, I just like it to be good. There's nothing worse when it's not good.
Well, I think I lower my standards.
I don't mind. I lower my standards too, but you know when the chips are actually cold?
Yeah.
Come on. Just heat them up for me. And I'm talking about any venue, not one in particular. Great question, Cam. I could see us having a kebab. Like that night we were watching the women's game, we were standing up, chilled. Kebab.
That would have been nice.
Yeah. Colder weather.
Yeah, you need something hot, but it's steamy.
Yeah.
Get the hands warm as well.
Yeah. But if you have any opinions on what Dr. Cam Webb said, I like that he went there because he's one of the most intelligent people in the world and his interests are vast and long, and he went straight to the food option.
I like it. I try not to eat too much because I'm usually too nervous to eat at the football.
Yeah.
Or I've got a 4-pack of beers.
Look, I think at this day and age, I'm not a huge eater at the game, but if it's there, I'm going to go for it.
If I've missed dinner or something and I'm coming in or whatever, I'll get a hot dog and a drink or something. But the hot dogs are actually pretty good.
I'm sure they are. It'd be interesting to see what happens with the Bay Central place, as Michael Gillard said, like what will be open, what won't be, what's, before, after.
Is there a food court in there?
Talking to the wrong fella.
I haven't been in there yet.
Either have I.
Let's go.
I'm sure
Friday.
A lot of our listeners, we could go on Friday. A few options on a Friday. Josh, that's the end of the letters, and that was a really good effort. So thanks everyone for being in touch. Keep it coming. We'll get to them, we promise. But we genuinely appreciate it. I know we made a bit of fun of the praise, but we appreciate it. And it's just, it's just funny to talk about yourself sometimes. And then, anyway, we'll move on. Josh, we'll have a quick break and do a little quick preview. It won't be too intense for everyone. Of the Dogs game. Stick around. SharkCast Pod. Go have a margarita. SharkCast is supported by the best and most honest real estate agent in the Sutherland Shire, Jason Hawes from Cripps & Cripps Real Estate. He's an expert in the Caringbah region and has his eye all across the Shire. Lifelong Sharks fan and supporter of this podcast, if you're looking to buy or sell in the region, the person you need to be talking to is Jason Hawes from Cripps & Cripps Real Estate. Call him on 0410 417 450. That's 0410 417 450. Jason Hawes, Cripps & Cripps Real Estate. Welcome back, SharkCast Pod. We are on the tail end of this episode, but do not fear. We have some dialogue for you about the upcoming game Friday. It is at 6 p.m. at Shark Park, and we're playing the Bulldogs. And the Bulldogs did not go too well against Parramatta last week. They weren't diabolical, but didn't go too well. Pretty red-hot Parramatta team. Sharky's team is as per, with the exception of Toby Rudolph coming in and Royce Hunt going to the bench. So your team is Kennedy, Katoa, Ramian, Dalakai, Muladalo. Braden Trindle, Nico Hines, Toby Rudolph starts. Blake Brayley, Oregon Kafusi starts. Britton, Nico Tigwilton, Cam McInnes locks and captains the team. Co-captain Dale Finucane on the bench. Jack Williams, Royce Hunt, Tom Hazelton. 18th man, Kale Iro. 19 is Tuka Haitapua, Dan Atkinson, Sam Stonestreet, Jaden Burrell also get a go on the extended bench. Yeah, it looks like Royce maybe copped it there based on what he did, but it wasn't too bad because he's still on the 17. The Dogs team is interesting to say the least. Connor Tracy's named on the wing in place of Josh Adokar, who's named in 23. So I don't know what the heck that means. Maybe just got to name someone. I don't know. Bronson Sherry is in 19, but also named to play in New South Wales Cup. It's a team we should beat, man. Blake Taff at fullback, I think we can kick the heck out of him. Blake Wilson's okay on the wing. Karaz is okay. Crichton's obviously exceptional. Connor Tracy on the wing. I don't think it's a lot to fear there with respect, especially on the wing. I mean, you know what you're going to get.
He'd be looking for a big game.
Absolutely. No denying that. And we respect him and we like him. I think this is where we win it in the halves. Matt Burton and Drew Hutchinson.
Yeah, Matt Burton's not a 6. He's a very good player, but he's not a 6, in my opinion.
I mean, I think if Will can handle those bombs, and we've seen him handle them before, but you never know what's going to happen out at Shark Park, and that's got to be their go-to is the bomb.
Well, if that's our biggest worry, then yeah.
I think it is. I think the last few times we played them, that's like if you protect the bomb, you win the game.
Yeah.
Drew Hutchinson at 7. I mean, he's come from a really good system, but he's a guy in a big body, which can be effective. But as far as a halfback goes,
of a struggling side, he's a great system player. I think he fit in really well at the Chooks.
Yeah,
being a link man, but leading this side around.
Yeah, it's no disrespect. It's more just I'm sort of glad he's playing, rather than someone else. And the pack, I mean, Max King, Reid Mahoney. I mean, Kickout's there. He's going to be dangerous. Jacob Preston's a good player. Jamin Salmon at lock. It's not putting the fear of God in me. And I say that, of course, because in hindsight, maybe they win by 50 and they're the stars of the game. I don't know. But you know what I mean? I watch a lot of football and these guys Again, I mean, Selman comes from the best system probably ever. But, yeah, I'm not sensing fear from him. Kurt Mann on the bench. Sam Hughes. Josh Curran's obviously a very honest worker. Kurt Moran. So, I just think in this game, Josh, if we hold the ball, tackle well, we win the game. Like, we saw it in the trial match. Like, we played at probably 40%, and they played at probably 85%, and we beat them 12-6.
Yeah. And we didn't play particularly good from that 40% either.
No Nico Hines, bunch of guys not playing.
Yeah.
I'm not basing it on the trial match, but there is no reason why we should lose this game. I'm sorry. No, there's no reason why we should lose.
If we lose, it'd be some sort of catastrophe from our end, and they'd have to play out of their skin, is how I'm kind of reading it.
Well, yeah, let's not make it close. Like, let's not give them the chance. Let's not make it like a trial where it's 6-all and who knows, let's not do that. Let's get to a 2-try lead and hold it, and then if you want to go on with it, go on with it. If you don't. But I think that obviously if you give any team a chance up until full time, there's a chance they could steal it. But I'm hoping that doesn't happen. And I just think our team is way better than theirs. It's the 100th time we're going to meet these guys. They've got the better record overall. We've got the better recent record. The last time, Josh, we won 2 games to start a season. It was a good year. I don't know how old you were then. 2008.
Manly Melbourne.
Yeah, very memorable wins. So it wasn't so much the 2 wins, it was the way they did it as well, and where they did it, Brookvale and in Melbourne.
And who against?
Unheard of, yeah. So against those guys who played in the grand final that year.
They did. We
went on to be equal first and kind of almost went there ourselves. Point is, it's been a long time since we started with 2. Like, that's crazy for a team so successful as ours. It's like, what the hell are you doing? The draw's not that hard. We've seen that. So that's going to be fun if we can get to that. When's the last time you won 3? That'll be the question. So interesting times. If you've listened to this, A, thank you, but B, don't think we're going off too early. It's just a really good victory. We're reasonably fit, and we're coming home to play for the first time in a long time and playing a team that we should beat. Like, there's no shame in saying that, right? Like, it's just we should beat them.
And we're pretty level-headed against all our opposition.
Yeah.
But realistically, like you said, like, we should be winning this and winning fairly comfortably, if not quite well.
It kind of reminds me of a game that sticks out. I don't know why, but do you remember... We beat the Dragons, was it 18-0 in one of Fitz's first games? I can't remember if it's the game I'm thinking of at Shark Park or it was down in Wollongong. But it was a really just strong effort, and we dominated. And it wasn't like a huge win, but they were never in doubt.
Yeah.
I want it to be that game. I want it to be never in doubt. I don't want them to take a lead. I don't even want them to score, to be honest. That's the game I want.
I think we'll get something like that too. Like I said, as long as we play through the middle, because they're really weak. They're like the Dogs, they've got a lot of weaknesses, but their biggest weakness is their forward pack. And this is the kind of game that I would expect a Royce Hunt to really dominate, especially after last week being dropped back to the bench. I think when he comes on, he's going to want to run for 200 metres and score 2 tries. So
Absolutely. I'm
looking at our forwards to really drive through the middle. Jack Williams' leg speed will kill them, and that quick play of the ball. And I mean, last year when we played them at home, I think we had about 5 forwards score tries. I think Tommy, Cam McInnes, Jack Williams, Royce Hunt, they all scored. So I think it'd be something similar.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to say it wouldn't matter if we won 12 or 16-0 because, like, the game would never be in doubt. We're keeping the 0, great defense, scoring some tries. But then the negative would be like, oh, we should have won by more. Or even the press would be like, well, I'm a bit worried about their attack now. So I won't say that. But for me, honestly, like a game like that, yeah, if we can win, like, if it was a 16-0, that would be an extreme success for me. Like, that would be like, tick, move on.
Realistically, if we're walking out singing Up Cronulla on Friday, I don't really care at this point. Still early in the season. Performance obviously is important.
Yeah.
But just getting those 2 points, getting that start to the season that you want, taking a bit of pressure off, that's all I care about. The performances and all that sort of stuff will come.
Absolutely. The thing is, at this time of the year, you don't want to be losing just because you got to make it up somewhere. And we've done that
every year
for a while, yeah. And sometimes it works. Like 2022, it worked. Last year, not so much. So yeah, just keep on winning and good things will come from that. And as you say, it's like, well, if it's a clunky performance but you win, then you can fix that. You can work on that. If it's a massive win, that's even better for the for and against or whatever. I'm not going to complain about a big win, but I'm certainly not going down there to expect a big win. I definitely expect us to win, though.
Yep.
There's a difference. Like, I'm not saying we're going to smash you by 40 because I don't know that at all. But I am confident to say, all being well, we're going to win. That's kind of good enough, right? Like,
That's all I want.
we're playing to win.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, Joshy, thanks for your time today, my friend. It's been fun, as always. We'll see you down at the game. It's going to be a good one. Hopefully it's a big crowd, an energetic crowd. If you're coming down and you got the voice, then use it positively, of course. And we'll be back with more episodes before you know it. Until then, you can follow us on Facebook, the X, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and if I ever don't update all of them at once, don't freak out, but they'll all get updated at some point. But yeah, please do that. Please subscribe to us on your podcast applications. If you're interested in merch, we've got merch links out there as well. There's lots of stuff and different ways you can support us. But the best way, of course, is by listening and also telling your friends, family, neighbours. I'll tell you this: if you're at the game this weekend, Josh, you can do it too. If you're it's a bit awkward for you because you're part of the show. If you're at the game this week and you feel comfortable, only if you feel comfortable, talk to your neighbour at the game if they look friendly enough and they're a Shark supporter, and say, "Hey, I've been listening to this podcast called SharkCast Pod," and they'll be like, "Is that the one with the two angry guys?" No. Is that the one with the new guys? No. Oh, the other one. Okay, yeah. And then you say to them, you should have a listen. And then say, if it's not for you, then no worries. But maybe it's for you and you can listen every week to these guys talking about the Sharks. That's a really great way that you can help us. So if you feel comfortable doing that, please do it, because we're always just trying to make this bigger and better than ever. End of rant, Josh. Thanks for your time. Thanks for not laughing too much when my headphones came off. We'll be back soon, and we'll also be down at the game this week. Cannot wait. Up, Cronulla. Let's go. We'll play the songs we won, and we'll get out of here, Josh. Up, Cronulla.
Up, Cronulla, the boys in the black, white and blue. Up, Cronulla, name of the Sharks with you. Sharks, forever. Go out and play without fear. Now's the time to see good football, for the Sharks are here. Sharks forever. Go out and play without fear. Now's the time to see good football, for the Sharks are here. Up the Sharks!